Nigeria, Africa. You want my candid response? Then it's in a question. Why Africa? Why Africa? Why Nigeria? You know, I think we have asked the wrong questions for too long. And when we begin to ask the right questions, we will be redirected to why we exist in the first place. You know, the most dangerous person is not the wicked person. It's not the person who performed the most witchcraft or however it is called within the borders of Africa. I think the most dangerous person is the person who does not know who they are. Because then they can be formed to what they are not. And the most dangerous part of it is that they can be formed to become tools in the hands of exploiters. I think we have been defined to us by people who do not know us. Because currently, intra-African movement is even more difficult than moving outside the borders of Africa. But it was not like that before colonialism. You know, before the colonial masters came, Africa was Africa. You have the likes of the Benin Kingdom and all other kingdoms. Who were we? Who are we before they came to define who we are to us? It's written in the Holy Book, in the scriptures. It said, when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? So I think one of the first things that Africa is fighting, our greatest battle is not poverty. Our greatest battle is identity crisis. She's battling serious identity crisis. You know, we are blessed with a lot. We are blessed with a lot. You look at all the nations in Africa, they are blessed with something. Gold, uranium, diamond, oil, name it. As a matter of fact, what shapes the world power is abundant in Africa. We need to revisit our source. You know, Africa had a thriving economy. I'm not just even going to go back before colonization. What happened? I've also noticed a pattern which we're going to be discussing in the builders table, because we're going to be asking some really critical questions. Why do every government in Africa have the same name given to them by the citizen? I don't believe in coincidence. Everybody keep complaining that the government is bad. Everybody keep complaining that the government this, government that. As a matter of fact, speak a manner of stuff about the government. It is not only a Nigerian thing, it's an African thing. Why? I'm going to ask a deeper question, but I think maybe I should come from the perspective where I'll be easily understood, so I would not be misunderstood. You know, there are a lot of stuff that could come out from our granite. I'll put the picture on the screen so you see what it is. Our foods. Who told us it's not good enough? We have belittled what we are to the point that we are not defining who we are by who the West has always been. Have we totally been set free as a continent? You know? Who controls the narrative out there? Why is it that we find now that, we have the highest population of the younger generation? As a matter of fact, I think Africa, as a matter of fact, Nigeria has the highest population of the young generation in the world. Now it now seems like a large portion of that population has become critics and commentators of bad governance rather than actually checking the roots and finding out their ordained part to play to make the nation a better place. Building a nation is not left for just one person. Why do we not have an heroic mentality? We just wait for somebody to, it's not just Nigeria. I mean, it's an African thing. You want somebody to just take the lead and you follow. No. You should be able to grow yourself enough to be able to go and make changes in those rooms. So under this just one question, I've listed a couple of things that I think, but the major thing here is that we are battling identity crisis. And yes, we have the youngest population in the world, but the most dangerous thing is if you have the youngest population who don't know who they are, that means they are likely to be used as a tool of destruction rather than building. Yes. It's not to get statistics right and say we have the highest population in the world. No. The most important thing here is, do this population have a right knowledge of who they are? There's been a story around, I'm going to use the popular thing. There's been a story around about an eagle that grew up among chickens or dogs and was behaving like she's chicken for a long time until it discovered who it is, and then it flew and began to soar with other eagles. That's how it is. Anybody born among thieves will likely become a thief because the only way of life they know is a thief. And when you try to tell them that this is not the right way of life, they fight you because their environment has defined them. So, identity crisis is the major issue I think Africa is facing. I think that's the reason you find poverty, because identity crisis is a function of ignorance. And whenever you see lack, it's a function of ignorance. It still boils down to the question: are you conformed or are you transformed? Yes. Do you have a maiden knowledge of who you are? Do you know who you are? Do you think you are put into the African continent just to be a commentator? Aren't you supposed to build? They have brought ideologies that has now made us make the contribution of a family towards nation building insignificant, because I think that's the foundation, that's the root. A healthy family will produce a healthy offspring with a healthy mind. And then it is through the mind that you can first rule a nation, because whatever you see in the visible was first invisible, was first an idea. Every country was once an idea. We're going to be discussing topics like this and more on the Builders Table. So you're welcome to stick up with us in this channel, because we're building and we want to get a point a couple of years from now where we're gonna be a nation that can look back at our journey and say, yes, we made impact.